Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Fluctus Channel.
The boat at our position is leaving our area.
One's a LCAC.
Beach landing is the most dangerous and logistically complicated operation a military can attempt. Mainly due to the fact that it involves bringing a wide range of troops, supplies, and vehicles ashore while facing constant enemy fire. Operation Overlord, otherwise known as D-Day, is a great example of beach landing. Almost 160,000 troops crossed the English Channel into France, supported by 5,000 ships and 1,200 aircraft. The most important factor throughout this operation was the ability of the troops to get safely from the ships to the beach. Over the years, several amphibious vehicles have been procured and used for amphibious assault. However, the most extraordinary amphibious vehicle ever built is the 8-wheeled Amphibious Combat Vehicle, ACV. According to the U.S. Marine Corps, the ACVs will replace its aging amphibious assault vehicles, AAVs, which date back to the early 1970s. The ACVs provide 3 times the force protection capability of the AAV and ramped up horsepower, allowing it to travel at speeds up to 65 miles per hour on paved roads and almost 6 knots on the water. The ACV weighs 35 tons and is capable of carrying 15 personnel at a time. ACV is a fairly new platform, and the Marines had to undergo extensive training to operate it in the ocean. The Marines got in and out of the ACV's entry and exit points to determine the best way to evacuate in case they found themselves in distress in the middle of the ocean. Initially, the Marines operated the ACV on land and later launched it into the water and moved it safely through the surf zone. The ACVs are launched into the water from modern warships, equipped with well decks situated at the rear. These well decks are periodically filled with water to launch, recover, and accommodate up to 52 amphibious vehicles at a time. The well deck control officer gives the order via radio to launch an ACV into the water. The ACVs roam out of the well deck while floating on the water and ultimately land on shore. Once the Marines complete their objectives, the ACVs return back to the warship. The well deck is once again flooded with water for the ACV to smoothly enter and park inside the ship. The ACV is designed to defend itself while operating in the water, using onboard weapon systems intended to counter lightly armored vehicles, fortified positions, and low-flying aerial threats during amphibious operations. The ACV is equipped with a 50 caliber machine gun mounted in a remote weapons station, providing defensive firepower while keeping the crew protected inside the vehicle. The ACVs provide exceptional armor protection, which allows them to perform beach landing while taking heavy fire from the enemy on the other side. Moreover, they are equipped with wheels instead of tracks, which makes them a better option for ground missions. Once the Marines are on the ground, the ACVs can also be used as barriers to get protection from enemy attacks. This capability allows the Marines to calculate their approach of retaliating and securing the beach and gives them the edge against the enemy. ACVs are man-made machines, and it is possible for them to malfunction during waterborne operations. Therefore, if an ACV is stranded in the middle of the ocean due to a malfunction, it is retrieved back to the well deck using another ACV. The Marines attach the malfunctioned ACV to the functioning one using ropes. It is then towed back to the warship. The Marines train for such scenarios during both day and night, so that they are fully prepared if something like this occurs in a combat. There have been several developments in amphibious vehicles over the years. However, it was the landing craft air cushion, or the LCAC, that revolutionized amphibious operations entirely. LCAC is monitored by a crew of 5 and is capable of operating from all amphibious well-deck ships like LHA, LHD, LSD, LPD, and ESD. The LCAC is equipped with air cushion technology, which allows it to reach more than 70% of the world's coastline, while only 15% of that coastline is accessible by conventional landing craft. Before it is launched from a well deck, the side skirt of the LCAC is inflated to create a cushion of escaping air upon which the craft rides. It is then launched into the water by following instructions of the well deck control officer.
Lowering it to 90 and a little bit lower.
LCAC is 87 feet long, 47 feet wide, and can carry up to 75 tons of equipment at speeds of more than 40 knots. It features a large ramp at the front side, which allows trucks, Humvees, and other vehicles to simply drive up for transport from ship to shore and vice versa. In fact, it can make multiple runs back and forth to deliver and retrieve multiple vehicles at a time. Due to its air cushion technology, the LCAC can drive directly onto a beach or other landing zones. Upon reaching land, the LCAC lowers its ramp to offload equipment, troops, and vehicles. The LCAC can drive further into the land, traveling over rivers, lakes, mud, and concrete with equal ability. The U.S. Navy and the U.S. Marine Corps always prioritized putting time, money, and effort into advancements in naval technology. In 2017, they conducted the Ship-to-Shore Maneuver Exploration and Experimentation Advanced Naval Technology Exercise at Marine Corps Base Camp Pendleton, California. The Marines field-tested more than 50 different new technologies, from swarming unmanned surface vessels to self-driving amphibious assault vehicles. Field testing was performed for various mission areas, including early reconnaissance, threat identification, threat elimination, and maneuver ashore. The technologies that performed exceptionally graduated to a more formal operational evaluation for further testing. The S-2ME2 had a heavy focus on unmanned aerial systems that could provide intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance on the battlefield. These are critical missions that have been traditionally performed by sailors, Marines, and special operators, but it put them at extreme risk. Drones were tested during the S-2ME2 to make the amphibious assault more effective in the future. Special unmanned launchers came out of the AAVs and launched the drones into the air to perform ISR operations. The U.S. military can insert hundreds of troops from multiple aircraft to secure a vast area, such as an airstrip. 500 military paratroopers dropped one after another into a drop zone during Operation Swift Response. Once the zone was softened by the initial airstrikes, the paratroopers dropped in with one objective, which was to clear the airstrip of any threats. The paratroopers established a hasty defense, normally organized while in contact with the enemy, or when contact is imminent and time is limited. All in all, 11 active and reserve C-130 Hercules and 2 C-17 Globemaster III aircraft were used to airdrop and deliver 500 paratroopers. Once a good defensive position was established, 2 Strykers and 4 high-mobility multi-wheeled vehicles loaded with gear arrived at the airstrip to build up combat power and ensure a solid hold on the position. Landing on an airfield and taking control of the entire area requires the Marines to be precise about each step they take. Therefore, Marines undergo extensive training to develop the necessary skills required during raids in a combat environment. On the 4th of March 2011, Marines took part in an airfield seizure exercise at the 29 Palms Airport. Sand swirling around the helicopters provided light concealment for the Marines as they touched down to seize the airfield. Armed enemy fighters waited for the Marines as they closed in from across the tarmac toward the airport's facilities. On the other hand, the Marines absorbed the assault and countered with massive firepower. Within minutes, the hunter became the hunted, and the enemy fighters turned out to be either dead or captured. Modern amphibious and airborne operations show just how far military, mobility, and coordination have evolved since the earliest beach landings. These operations are no longer isolated actions, but carefully synchronized movements that bring forces ashore, establish control, and rapidly build combat power. That's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of our new content. See you next time.